going to show you how to print any design on fabric. This is a really easy way to print your design right from your home. I have made this pencil pouch. I have made this fabric hanging. I have made this embroidery hoop. So this embroidery hoop, this is my finished product, but if you embroider, you could print your design so you wouldn't have to trace it on your fabric. Just print it off and then you can embroider on top of that. A few things about choosing your fabric. You want your fabric to be relatively thin because it's going to actually go through your printer. And if it's too thick, something like canvas or twill probably will get stuck. So something that is cotton-based is really good, like a sheet. If you have an old sheet you can use, you just want to make sure that it's somewhat thin and the ink will sit well in the fabric. You can test it out, different types of fabrics. Also about the color of your fabric, I like white. If you use muslin and it's that tan color, the colors of your design will be different when you print them. When you do print in color, even on white, your color is going to be a lot different than on the computer. It's going to be a little bit faded. For example, my unicorn right here on the computer, and when I print it on paper, it's like a hot pink, a dark hot pink. So on my embroidery hoop design, this is black, the leaves are gray, but the words are black, and they look more like a dark gray because it just fades a little bit when you print. I originally lettered this in my iPad Pro. You could also use Inkscape or Adobe Illustrator. You just need to make sure that it's 8.5 by 11. So mine was a square, and I'm just changing it to be 8.5 by 11. You will need freezer paper, your fabric, your design, and an inkjet printer. It doesn't work with a laserjet printer, it has to be inkjet. So here's my fabric. I have cut this into 8.5 by 11 because it's going to fit in your printer. And then your freezer paper, you also want to cut it into 8.5 by 11. So I have several sheets cut out right here. You can reuse your freezer paper. For example, this one I've used over and over again. You can tell when it's starting to get old when there's like lint on it, and the wax, you can't really feel the smooth wax anymore. So you're going to iron your freezer paper to your fabric. When you iron it, make sure that the shiny side of the freezer paper, so one side is not wax coated, the side that is, it's shiny, this is the side that's going to be touching your fabric. And you're gonna iron those together, make sure they're cut out to 8.5 by 11. So here is my fabric and freezer paper ironed together. And then you're just gonna load it into your printer, making sure that you put it in the correct way so that it prints on the fabric side, not on the freezer paper side. For me, I have to place it in the tray with the fabric side down because it flips it over. You also want to make sure that you don't have any loose threads lying around. So if you do have like a thread right in the middle, then you're going to have a stripe right in the middle. And you want to make sure that all of your ends are really cleanly cut so that you don't have any threads getting stuck in your printer. So now I'm ready to print my design. I'm going to show you what settings I always use. So first, I want it to be best quality. And then I always choose thick plain paper because fabric is thicker than regular paper. You might have to play around with your settings if they're different from mine. And you just want to make sure any other settings won't change the size of your design because you made it the right size to print. And then you just print. And there is my fabric. And I can easily just peel off the freezer paper. And there it is. So now I can do whatever I want. This one's going in a hoop, but I can do whatever I want with it.